Skip, for the simple fact this is a transcendent player, and he no longer wants to play for our team. The same vitriol that KD received in Oklahoma City, he didn't have no press conference. He just said, I'm going to Golden State. AD got it, and I get why, AD wanted to leave, and we see the vitriol that he got. Skip, when you lose these type players, the likelihood of you ever getting another one isn't very good. And so we want to hold on to him. And LeBron grew up in Akron. He grew up basically less than an hour away from Cleveland. So he's our own. You can't let him go. You can't get rid of him. It would have been the equivalent, Skip, if Tom Brady was born in Massachusetts, close to Boston, and all of a sudden he says, you know what? I'm taking my talents to Central Florida. I'm going to Tampa. Skip, that raised holy hell. But at this juncture of his career, Skip, it's 20 years. It was like, okay, Tom, we let you go. But LeBron was still in what people would consider the best player in the world, and he don't want to be one on my team anymore. Skip, he raised $2 million. He gave the players empowerment, because before this, players wasn't moving like this. Even Shaq, when Shaq left Orlando, we didn't have the social media. People was upset. That's what happens. LeBron changed jobs. I'm sure, Skip, internally, like if I work for this software company, I work for Apple, and all of a sudden I choose to go work for Google or Microsoft, I'm sure people are going to get upset because, hold on, you wanted the best, and you leaving us to go there? But Skip, that's how fans are. Fans are short for fanatical, and sometimes they're not rational. And they're like, you can't leave. LeBron left because he said, you know what, I just don't believe I can win here. And the ownership is not putting the pieces in place around me to make sure I can win here. So I'm going over here, Skip. I don't believe that anything would have been differently. The only thing, maybe it was televised. But if LeBron says, you know what, I don't want to do a press conference, do it like LeBron, do like Michael Jordan did, says, I'm back. Skip, all he did, he sent the facts out. I'm back. Man, you owed it to us. You could have at least went to front of the cameras and say you were leaving. Skip, it was never going to be good. Skip, breakups are hard. What can somebody say if you break it up, this thing's going to make it easier? You could have told me to my face, okay, I don't want to be with you no more. Or you ain't have to tell me that. You could have sent me a text. Well, a text is so impersonal. Skip, when you break up, Skip, is there ever an easy way to break up? Is there ever an easy way for someone to tell you they don't want to be with you anymore? No, there isn't. So I don't believe there's anything that he could have done differently.
Quick point of order. I think most Patriot fans knew that Belichick was pushing Brady out the back door. They knew that 2 years before he wanted to go forward with Jimmy Garoppolo, and that the owner overruled and said, no, you're going to stick with Tom.
What if he had done that? What if he had done that in, say, 2007?
Okay, but he didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So we know the vitriol that would have came with that.
All right. You can check the ESPN tapes on this. You can see what I said the next day. I had absolutely no problem with LeBron James announcing his choice in a national TV special.
Right.
I thought it was pretty cool, actually. And it was fun, and it was edge of seat, and to the last second, I wasn't completely sure.
I wasn't either. I'm like, damn, it seems like he might be going back.
Okay, so I know Chris Broussard, our man here, was all over it for ESPN, and he thought it was going to be Miami, but he wasn't completely sure.
Right.
So neither was I, and it was high drama, and it was captivating, and it was memorable because we're still talking about it, these many years later.
Right.
And I also had absolutely no problem with the choice that he made to leave Cleveland and join forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami. LeBron was struggling in Cleveland. He didn't have quite enough help, but he needed a big brother figure in Dwayne, whom he trusted, to teach him how to win a championship. And Dwayne did that. It took a couple of years, but he did it. And LeBron needed to be in a new place with a new supporting cast and a Pat Riley and an Eric Spoelstra. It was great. It was a good choice by him. It was a great choice.
And plus, Skip, by being with Pat, Skip, he got an opportunity to see how you build a team.
This is how you do it, okay, at the highest level.
Yes.
Now, here's my problem. And I'm still, to this day, shocked that LeBron didn't see this and headed off at the pass. His first words as he announced his decision should have been to show deep compassion for the fans of Cleveland. His first words should have been, he should have gushed sympathy for Cleveland fans because he is from Akron.
Right.
And they did stand behind him. And they did love him to almost to death. You know, they were with him every step. And so his first words should have been something like, this is tearing me up to make this choice. This is tearing my heart out to leave my home area. And Cleveland fans and Cavs fans will always have the biggest place.
Well, then I don't know where he's going.
Okay, well, as you say, you know, okay, but you need to let them down easy to start with.
Right.
And I'm still very surprised that Maverick Carter or Rich Paul weren't in his ear beforehand to say, hey, let's think this through. How are you going to present it?
You could tell, you could look at it, you could tell he was agonizing. He said he wasn't even
I just thought he was nervous about it.
He was like, he said, I wasn't really totally sure. I knew it was either I was going back to Cleveland, I was going to Miami, but I wasn't really sure until the very last moment.
Okay, but his total focus was on what had become his hatred for his owner. So everything Cleveland to him was focused on Dan Gilbert.
Right.
Who, remember, what was it, just a couple of days later,
Right. Pinned
he pinned a statement, but he also talked to the Associated Press,
Right.
and he flat out accused LeBron James of quitting
Right.
in that last series against Boston, in which they lost games 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
What? Quitting? And it had gotten to the point that it had gone completely over the edge between LeBron and Dan
Correct.
Gilbert. Remember, Dan Gilbert was furious that LeBron didn't actually call him to
Right.
tell him beforehand, hey, gee, thanks, but no
Right.
thanks. Just something. So LeBron was angry at Dan Gilbert, and it clouded his presentation to the country of, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
Because he was sick and tired of Dan Gilbert. I don't think he was sick and tired of Cavs fans. How could he be?
He loved the Cavs. But Skip, here's the thing, and fans are going to have to get over the way they think, because I listen to fans and I'll hear what they say. As long as a team puts a super team together, they got no problem with that. The team can trade a player, a top player, and the fans have no problem with that. They don't burn things. They don't do anything. But let a player take control of his career and says, you know what? And that's what LeBron did, Skip. He gave players the power.
I got that. I didn't think of it that way. Maybe I just can't think that way, but I just, it was great. It was fine.
Skip, you wanted a fan. Think about it. You got upset when Zeke threw his jersey in the trash can. What you mean you can't rationalize that? Yes, you can.
But as far as a player seizing control, that's fine. They always have. I mean, it's happened down through history. Kurt Flood in baseball said, I will sacrifice my career to take this over.
But that was in baseball, Skip. The big gun in basketball, they didn't leave via free agency. They got traded. Kareem got traded. Oscar got traded. Wilt got traded. Guys didn't say, I'm a free agent. No, sir. I'm going where I want to go. I'm going to hold it. And then all of a sudden, we saw this flood of players saying now they have the...
Okay, all right. That's great. But then the weirdest thing happened for me personally, again, back in the days on First Take, was Cavs fans had hated me for, quote unquote, hating on LeBron for those years prior to the decision.
Right.
And all of a sudden, overnight, I'm seeing videos.
They made you a sympathetic figure.
Well, they're burning his jersey. They're burning his jersey in the streets of Cleveland, in the bars.
Yes.
They're setting his jersey on fire.
Right.
And the next day, they wanted to elect me mayor of Cleveland because they said, you were right all along. Yeah, I was right, but not about this.
Right.
And yet, it's because he gave them nothing back. He didn't thank them. He showed no gratitude for their years of support, right?
Skip, what about...
That's not like him because he doesn't miss a PR step.
Okay, what about KD? So why did they do what they did to KD? Okay. KD had just given $1 million for the hurricane relief that ravaged Oklahoma. Okay. He had just went out there personally. So what was that about KD? What did KD do wrong?
KD has no PR feel whatsoever. He's anti-PR. He always says and does the wrong thing. KD is the guy who got voted the MVP by a bunch of basketball writers who then the next year at the All-Star game before in the day before, the Friday.
He dunked on y'all.
He dunked on him. He said, y'all don't know, you know what about basketball. Wait a second. They just voted you the MVP.
You're probably right. We should have gave the award to LeBron.
Okay.
But Skip, you know how fans are.
But Kevin just doesn't have any sense. This guy is the greatest at saying the right thing and obviously doing the right thing. He was doing the right thing without first saying the right thing. It just set the wrong tone. And yet he made it up to me, went back, and they won a championship.
And he got a school there.
Okay,
He's done so much for the community.
Okay, now all is well. But on that night, it was not well because he mishandled his presentation.
Skip, short of him saying, I'm going back, I'm coming, I'm staying home, they were going to be upset. Skip, hell, people that didn't even have a chance, Chicago, and the Knicks, fans, they upset because he didn't go there. He wasn't going to you guys. Why you upset?
Okay, but if you watch it back now, and we watched it, didn't they show it back in early pandemic or something? I know, I watched it recently. LeBron's nervous, it's awkward. Jim Gray, and he's great at what he does, but it felt awkward, like it was sort of unplanned and unscripted, and they're kind of chatting about the weather, and everybody's saying, well, where are you going?
Right, we got to fill an hour. We done sold ad time, Skip. I can't just tell you where I'm going at the beginning, then everybody gonna go click, Skip.
But LeBron was as nervous as I've ever seen him because he didn't know exactly how to present it.
LeBron came into the NBA. It was easy. I ain't changing jobs. I'm still going to go play basketball. I'm just going to the NBA. Now, even though he's not changing jobs, he's changing teams. He's still doing the same job. I don't believe, and I could be wrong, short of LeBron saying, I'm staying home, the Cleveland